You understand people quickly. You read the room before anyone speaks. You notice shifts in tone, micro-expressions, emotional undercurrents. You know when someone is hurting, even when they're smiling. People often tell you, you're so emotionally intelligent. You're so mature. You just get it. But there's a quiet truth no one asks about. Who understands you? This is the hidden psychology of emotionally intelligent people who feel deeply alone, not because they lack connection, but because they are always the ones holding the connection. And today, we're going to talk about what no one talks about. What happens when emotional intelligence becomes emotional isolation? 1. Emotional intelligence can become a survival skill. Most people think emotional intelligence is something you learn. But for many people, it's something you develop out of necessity. You didn't become emotionally intelligent because life was gentle. You became emotionally intelligent because life was unpredictable. Maybe you grew up around emotionally unstable adults, conflict you had to manage, silence that meant danger, moods you had to read to stay safe, so your nervous system adapted. You learned when to speak, when to stay quiet, how to calm others, how to avoid triggering chaos. Psychology calls this hypertunement. You became emotionally intelligent because you had to be. And when a child learns that understanding others is the key to safety, love, or peace, they internalize one rule: my emotions come second. That rule doesn't disappear when you grow up. It just becomes invisible. 2. Why you're always the strong one, emotionally. Intelligent people are often labeled strong, but what most people call strength is actually emotional self-erasure. You're the one who listens without interrupting, understands before judging, forgives quickly, adjusts easily, stays calm when others break, and people love you for that. But psychology reveals something uncomfortable. When you're always the emotionally regulated one, no one learns to regulate for you. You become the container, the emotional anchor, the safe space, but containers don't get held. So over time, something shifts. You stop expressing, you stop asking, you stop needing, at least outwardly. Not because you don't have needs, but because you learned they're inconvenient. 3. The loneliness of being understanding. This is a specific kind of loneliness. You're not alone socially, you might have friends, partners, colleagues, but emotionally, you feel unseen. Because people don't see past your competence. They assume you're okay, you don't need reassurance, you can handle it. You'll speak up if something's wrong, but emotional intelligence often comes with emotional invisibility. You understand everyone else's behavior, yet no one takes the time to understand yours. And slowly you start to believe, maybe my pain isn't important enough to mention. That belief is dangerous. 4. Why you feel empty even though you're aware. Here's the paradox. You have emotional depth. You have insight. You have awareness. Yet you feel empty, not numb, empty. Psychology explains this as chronic emotional suppression, not absence. You've trained yourself to intellectualize feelings, explain pain instead of feeling it, analyze emotions rather than express them. You can talk about your feelings but struggle to sit inside them. Why? Because your system learned early. Feeling deeply without support is unsafe. So instead of feeling, you understand. Instead of needing, you manage. Instead of receiving, you give. And emptiness grows not because you feel nothing, but because you never let anything stay long enough to nourish you. 5. You attract people who need you, not people who see you. Emotionally intelligent people often attract emotionally immature partners, wounded friends, people who need fixing, people who need explaining. Why? Because you feel familiar to them. You regulate what they cannot. But these relationships are often one-sided. You listen, you adapt, you empathize, and slowly you disappear. Psychology calls this overfunctioning. You take responsibility for emotional balance, communication, repair, stability, and the cost? Resentment, fatigue, a quiet grief you can't explain. Because being needed is not the same as being loved. 6. Why you struggle to receive. You give effortlessly, but receiving? That feels uncomfortable. Compliments make you uneasy. Support feels unfamiliar. Being taken care of feels strange. Why? Because your nervous system learned, I am valued for what I provide, not for who I am. So when someone gives without asking anything in return, your system doesn't relax. It panics. You wonder, what do they want? When will they need something back? How long will this last? This isn't trust issues, it's conditioning. Your emotional intelligence was built in an environment where love had strings. 7. You feel guilty for needing anything. Emotionally intelligent people often carry irrational guilt. Guilt for resting, asking for help, expressing disappointment, saying no. Being emotional because somewhere along the way you learn that your needs create imbalance. So you minimize them. You say, I'm fine. It's not a big deal. I'll handle it. But suppression doesn't disappear. It settles in the body as tension, as exhaustion, as emotional flatness. 8. The invisible burnout no one sees. This kind of burnout doesn't look dramatic. You still function. You still show up. You still perform. But inside, you're tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. Psychology calls this compassion fatigue. It happens when you give empathy without replenishment. You become detached, cynical, emotionally distant, easily overwhelmed, not because you're cold, but because your emotional system is overdrawn. And no one notices because you never stop being capable. 9. Why you don't feel safe being fully yourself. Being emotionally intelligent taught you how to adapt, not how to exist freely. You adjust your tone. You soften your truth. You choose words carefully. You don't explode. You don't demand. You don't take up space. But self-abandonment masquerading as maturity is still abandonment. And over time you forget what your unfiltered self even looks like. 10. Healing is not losing your intelligence. It's redirecting. Healing doesn't mean becoming less understanding. It means finally understanding yourself with the same compassion. It means noticing when you overextend, allowing discomfort instead of managing it away, letting others misunderstand you, sometimes choosing honesty over harmony. This is terrifying for emotionally intelligent people, because you were rewarded for being easy, calm, agreeable. But growth asks, what if you stopped being the emotional caretaker? 11. Learning to be seen, not just needed. The shift begins when you stop asking, how do I keep the peace? And start asking, is this relationship safe enough for me to exist fully? You don't need everyone to understand you. You need someone who doesn't require you to disappear. That starts with you. 12. A message for the quietly exhausted. If this video feels personal, it's because it is. You're not broken. You're not cold. You're not empty by nature. You're depleted. Because emotional intelligence without emotional safety becomes self-neglect. And you deserve more than being the one who always understands. You deserve to be understood. Conclusion: the quiet truth, being emotionally intelligent is a gift. But it was never meant to be a burden. You were not born to hold everyone else together. You were not meant to disappear into empathy. You were not meant to earn rest. You are allowed to need. You are allowed to receive. You are allowed to be held. And the moment you stop performing emotional strength is the moment your real healing begins. Subscribe to MindPeace, where emotional depth is honored and silence finally feels safe.